The air in Sophie's house was heavy, thick with silence. Every shadow seemed alive, every creak of the floorboards a whisper of danger. Episode 13 had ended with Sophie vowing to strike back. But now, as she sat with her laptop glowing in the dark, she felt the weight of her decision pressing against her chest. She replayed the voicemail Mark had left. "You can post your stories, but I'm always closer than you think." His voice made her skin crawl. But instead of fear, Sophie felt a cold determination ignite inside her. This time, she wouldn't just defend herself. She would trap him. She began working through the night, piecing together everything: photos, texts, voicemails, even the picture of her sleeping in her bed. She gathered it into one devastating file, something that could ruin him completely. But she wasn't going to release it yet. Not until she forced Mark into making one final mistake. Across the table, Lily watched with worried eyes. "Sophie, are you sure about this? You're baiting a man who's already dangerous. What if he snaps?" Sophie's hands trembled as she typed, but her voice was steady. "He already snapped. He broke into my home. He painted lies on my walls. I can't live in fear anymore. It's time he knows he doesn't own me. Not anymore." The next evening, Sophie made her move. She posted a cryptic update online. "The truth is bigger than you think. Tomorrow, the final chapter begins." It was short, but powerful. Within hours, the comments exploded. Thousands of strangers cheered her on, begging her to expose everything. But somewhere in that chaos, Sophie knew Mark was watching too. And that was the point. Because Sophie was no longer the hunted. She was setting the trap. Mark saw the post while sitting in his car, parked in the shadows near Sophie's street, his jaw clenched and his hands curled into fists. "She thinks she can scare me? She thinks she can end me?" he muttered. His breathing grew heavy. "No, I'll end her first." His obsession spiraled. That night, he drafted his own twisted plan. But what he didn't know was that Sophie was already one step ahead. When Lily left to pick up groceries, Sophie stood alone in her quiet house, the weight of what she was about to do pressing down. She placed hidden cameras by the doors, microphones near the windows, and checked the locks twice. She even left the front light on, a signal, almost an invitation. Her heart pounded as she whispered into the silence, "Come on, Mark. I know you're out there. I'm ready." Hours passed. The clock ticked. Midnight came and went. Sophie fought to keep her eyes open, her body trembling with exhaustion. And then she heard it. The soft crunch of gravel outside. Her chest tightened. She grabbed her phone and pressed record. The doorknob rattled. A slow, deliberate turn. Sophie's heart thudded so loudly she was sure he could hear it. And then the door creaked open. Mark stepped inside, his shadow stretching across the floor like a monster. He moved slowly, confidently, as though he had done this before. His eyes scanned the room, his lips curling into a sick smile. But Sophie was ready. She stepped into the light, phone in hand, her voice shaking but fierce. "Looking for me?" Mark froze. His smile faltered. "Sophie," he said, his tone low, almost mocking. "You don't understand. I just wanted to talk." Her eyes filled with tears, not of fear, but of anger. "Talk? You broke into my house? You threatened me? You ruined everything? And now the world will finally see who you really are." Mark lunged toward her, but Sophie didn't flinch. She backed away, holding her phone high. "It's all recorded. Every step you've taken tonight. The cameras are rolling, Mark. Everyone will know." For the first time, she saw something flicker in his eyes. Panic. "You wouldn't," he spat. "I already did." The tension shattered as sirens wailed in the distance. Lily had called the police on her way home, knowing Sophie's trap might actually work. Mark spun toward the sound, his face twisted in rage. "You think this ends me?" he screamed. "This isn't over, Sophie. Not until I say it's over." But Sophie stood her ground, Tears streamed down her face, her body trembling, but her voice cut through the chaos like steel. "No, Mark, it ends tonight." As flashing lights filled the windows and officers swarmed the yard, Sophie finally let herself collapse to the floor. Lily rushed inside moments later, wrapping her in a desperate hug. Sophie clutched her best friend's hand, whispering through sobs, "I'm not afraid anymore." But even as Mark was dragged away, screaming into the night, a part of Sophie knew the war wasn't over. She had won this battle, but revenge had a way of leaving scars that never truly healed. If episode 14 gave you goosebumps, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who loves suspenseful drama, and comment below. Do you think Sophie is finally safe, or is Mark's revenge just beginning? Subscribe now and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss episode 15, the darkest twist yet.